Now time to take you through the starting order for race number 4 of the meeting. Heat 1 for Senior Rotax, it's groups A versus B. After time qualifying yesterday, Kai Rillertz was the fastest driver through total combined qualification. He will line up on the front row on pole. Alongside him will be Sean Butcher, last year's champion. Fahin Mega and Montego Marson make it an all-German, row number 2. Sebastian Bach and Austin Lee, row number 3. Matthew Higgins and Miska Kaskinen, that's an all-DHR, row number 4, with Mark Kimber and the pride of Scotland, Lewis Gilbert, rounding out the top 10. Jaden Teen and Vic Stevens, that's row 6. Then we have Zombar Kovac, Nolan Lemerhay, Sverre Ubben, Lotus Sveen, Matteo Pianizzola, Zach Scala, Hugo Brunn, and Scott Westhovens rounding out the top 20. Alexander Savinkov, Lachlan Robinson, Danny Shields making his debut as a senior over here in Europe, followed by Magic Hamada and Paul Simard rounding out the 25-strong grid. So all of the senior Rotax heats will take have a duration of 10 minutes plus an additional lap. So this could be the opportunity for Kai Rillertz, who will start pretty much for every single race this here today on Heats Day, to get a maximum score and really bring himself back into the top end of the championship fight. As the final round will head to the home of British karting between the 8th and the 10th of September this year at Paul Fletcher International. The home of Kart Masters, the home of Trent Valley Kart Club, will provide a thrilling spectacle for our our season finale for our 6th season. 10 minutes on the timer. So it's going to be Rillertz from Butcher on the front row, followed by Mega, Marson, Bach, Lee, Higgins, Kaskinen, Kimber and Gilbert. That is your top 10. We now get ready into formation. 25 drivers, that's 12 and a half rows of competitors as people watching from the grandstands. Into the tram lines we go. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out first time. Good start by the pole sitter. Up the inside going through. We're trying to get through on Sean Butcher. That is Fahin Mega. And Butcher still round the outside through into turn 3, but he has to relinquish second. Jaden Teen already getting his elbows out, trying to get through around the outside of Austin Lee. Through turn number 4. Now into 5, into 6. The fast right-hand sweeper. 2 off the track, but they keep it pinned. One of which was Alexander Savinkov from Argenti Motorsport. Someone also trying to go around the outside through the exit of turn number 7. But Kai Rillertz leads the way. Fahin Mega in second. Sean Butcher in third. Fourth looks to be Sebastian Bach from Denmark. As they come through the final right-hander, Montego Marson rounds out the top 5 and is right on the coattails of the Dane down the start-finish straight. Well, actually, no, he's behind. That is Matthew Higgins. So Higgins is now 5th. Austin Lee drops to 7th. Mark Kimber, Jaden Thien, and Francis Nolan Lemerhay round out the top 10. Up the inside, through on Fahin Mega. Through turn 4, that's Sean Butcher, the 301 from the United Kingdom. He gets through. A lot of dust being kicked up and actually being through the amount of side draft being exercised by the side pods. Coming through turn 5, the sand that was put onto the track has now literally been blasted off it. Rillertz is starting to build a lead now in the 374. He made a switch midway through the season from Kraft Motorsport, and we've had 2 off, one of which is the 375 of Matthew Higgins. I think the other one is Sebastian Bach, and that is a real shame for the 338 from Denmark. And now the elbows are really out, a bit of a scrape of wheels. One of which was Montego Marson, the other one was Austin Lee in the 379. I did see some smoke hit the air. So Sebastian Bach out and in the kitty litter. Oh, bit of a moment there. That was for the Yaz Racing Yaz Heat Racing Academy driver, that was Zach Scowler, and there is absolute pandemonium all off the track. That was Vic Stevens. Sverre Ubben drops a few places in the meantime as Vic Stevens went off coming out of turn 7. So you've still got to keep it a bit calm. They've got to reel those elbows in, cross the T's, dot the I's. And at the moment, Gilles has a 4/10 of a second advantage over Butcher. Foreign Mega completes the top 3. Mark Kimber now 4th. Montego Masson 5th. Jaden Teen has now got Austin Lee up the inside, and that's a change for 6th. And Jaden Teen says, no, you don't, Sunshine. I'm going back up the inside. And then all of a sudden, Lewis Gilbert went, oh, thanks very much. Thanks, Austin. I'll go through as well. So that's a positional change there for Lewis Gilbert. He's back up to 7th now. Vic Stevens has got Zombor Kovac right on his case as we got 2 intertangling. That is the 9.35 of Hugo Brun and the 9.32. That is Danny Shields from the UAE that was coming out of turn. You know what? I've never seen that before. Both drivers getting the carts off. No marshals required on that one. They've managed to do the clean-up. But can Danny Shields get the kart started? Hugo Brun can. Fastest lap of the race, Vic Stevens at the moment, 55.340. The Belgian now up into the top 10 in the 369 from Dams Racing. As Austin Lee now trying to get back up the inside of Lewis Gilbert through turn 4. No possibility of that happening there. He's got the flying fin. Miska Kaskinen right with him in the 385. There's Vic Stevens. He went grass tracking out of this particular corner just a couple of laps ago. But the Belgian now keeps it on the black stuff for the minute. 5 minutes and 30 seconds still to go. The air temperature is still on the increase, folks. We are now at 27 degrees Celsius. So these drivers will need a lot of hydration over the course of the day. Vic Stevens puts in another fastest lap of the race of 55.340. Mark Kimber's not too far adrift from that. The 3:02 from Strawberry Racing. A 3 times Grand Finals champion. 2016 as a junior, 2021 in Bahrain as a senior, and last year at Portimao as a DD2 driver. The only driver to have won 3 different classes at the Grand Finals in its history. And that's over 2 decades worth of history. Coming up to 4.5 minutes to go. Kai Gillitz's lead was just under 4.5 tenths of a second. We're about to complete lap number 6. And Gillitz's lead is now 5.5 tenths of a second. Farin Mega still rounds out the top 3. 4th is Mark Kimber. 5th is Montego Marson. A further 1.2 seconds back is Jaden Teen. He's about 7 tenths ahead of Lewis Gilbert. Austin Lee, Miska Kaskinen, Vic Stevens round out the top 10. Sebastian Bach out. Hugo Brun with that unfortunate collision with Danny Shields through the exit of turn 7 is out. Danny Shields still circulating behind Sverre Ubben. That was a bit close there. That was a change. 7th goes to Austin Lee now ahead of Lewis Gilbert as they were side by side coming through turn 7, I believe. 3 minutes and 38 seconds still remaining on the timer. And Montego Masson again keeping close to Mark Kimber. That's for 4th on the road. Sverre Ubben has now pulled it into the pits. So the 344 from Belgium with GKS Lemons Power is out after 5 laps. Hurlitz has extended his lead with just over 3 minutes to go to nearly 3/4 of a second over Sean Butcher, and has now just put in the fastest lap of the race. 55.114 for the 16-year-old based out of Tremelo. Also a recent winner of the 12 Hours of Monza with the Creventic 24-hour series with Red Ant Racing in the Porsche Cup class. He's also taken part in a 6-hour endurance race at, I think it was at Spa-Francorchamps, if I remember correctly. And Gillets now expanding that lead to nigh on a second after 8 laps of racing. Mark Kimber still keeping Montego Masson at bay. The one at the front is not defending that much, but the one behind is not attacking that much. So it's a bit of an even Stevens between the pair. So 2 minutes still to go. And Gillets looks to continually, comfortably expand that lead that he has at the moment over Sean Butcher. So 22 of the 25 starters are still running. Gillets' lead is now nearly 1.1 seconds over Butcher with 1.5 minutes still remaining. Butcher second, Farin Mega holding on nicely to third, but is being closed in on by Mark Kimber and Montego Masson. And Farin Mega was actually the slowest of the trio. 5.8 seconds cover the top 10, rounded out by Scotland's Lewis Gilbert. And he's just a fraction behind Vic Stevens in 9th. Miska Kaskinen from Finland in 8th place, with 1.8 seconds separating 7th to 10th place. Coming down to the final 60 seconds. So we're going to have 2 more laps to go, after, including this one that we're about to go on, as we head on to lap number 11. Gillets' lead now is 1.2 seconds. Ahead of Butcher, Mega, Kimber, Marson, Dean, Austin Lee, Miska Kaskinen, Vic Stevens, Lewis Gilbert. Lachlan Robinson has made some headway through this race. He's made up 8 places so far, from 22nd to 14th. Oh, and there's a moment. Oh, Magic Hamera. He said his European campaign would be on a wing and a prayer, so I'm not too sure if there was an engine-related or power-related issue there for the 909. But after this, we're going to have 1 more lap to go. Gillets continues to lead. And that lead has expanded further, 1.34 seconds over Butcher, Farin Mega. And again, it has really just stabilised between the top 10. However, Kovac is 11th. Robinson now up 10 places, because we've had, obviously, with that drama with Magic Chimera, he's dropped all the way down to 21st position. So Lachlan Robinson, Nolan Emery, Matteo Pianizzola, and Argenti Motorsports' Alexander Savinkov, representing the UK, now complete the top 15. But we are just seconds away from seeing who's going to be winning the first senior Rotax heat. And it's a home country hero. It is Kai Gillets, commanding cool as a cucumber from the 374, based out of Tremelo. The 16-year-old wins the first heat by just 1.2 seconds ahead of Sean Butcher, the reigning and defending champion. Farin Mega was third ahead of Mark Kimber. Montego Masson completes the top 5. Jaden Teen, Austin Lee, Miska Kaskinen, Vic Stevens, and Lewis Gilbert round out the top 10. Zombor Kovac, Lachlan Robinson, Nolan Lemeray, Matteo Pianizzola, Alexander Savinkov, Scott Westhovens, Lotus Fiend, Matthew Higgins recovers after the dramas for him earlier on in the race with that incident with Sebastian Bach. Rounds out the top 18. Zach Scowler and Paul Simard rounds out the top 20 out of Magic Hamera and Danny Shields. And I've just been informed by live timing that Nolan Lemeray will be demoted from 13th with a 5-second post-race penalty for pushing. So on lap number 5, we lost Sverre Ubben from Belgium. Lap 3, Hugo Brun with the incident involving him and Danny Shields. And then the lap 2 incident involving Sebastian Bach and Matthew Higgins.